BLACKPINK's accounts hacked again, but is aespa's Giselle okay? NewJeans compare Hybe to what? And so much more in today's episode of Totally Legit K-pop News with me, Angelina. So if you're interested, please keep on watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with friends you don't have. But without further ado, let's get into today's news. Do you guys remember when BLACKPINK's Spotify account was hacked? In fact, a lot of artist accounts were compromised at that point. But as an example, somebody put Kiss of Life as their background. They uploaded weird videos, so on and so forth. It seems something similar is happening right now. As we can see, people started pointing out that the artist credits for Jump changed. For example, this one says The Blackpink, another one says Blocky and Nedim. And people were especially worried about this because it seems that it lost its position in the charts. And so it seemed like the song was in a downward trajectory. It seems that this affected the group on Shazam as well. If we look here, BLACKPINK isn't credited for Jump. So if you search up BLACKPINK Jump, you're going to find BLACKPINK's song Jump, right? But looking at the specific playlist that people are mentioning, you do see that the credits have been changed. So for example, the top 100 global on Apple Music, at number 6, we have Jump by the BLACKPINK. Now let's see if we could play a snippet.
So come up with me, I'll take you high.
What? What version of the song is that? I'm not sure which Spotify playlist is being referred to in these screenshots, but we could at least verify the Apple Music one. I guess we could try Shazamming Jump. It doesn't seem to be the case on Shazam anymore, at least. Checking both the top 50 for South Korea and global, BLACKPINK's credits seem to be fine now, but there's still that issue in Apple Music. So of course, a lot of fans are wondering why this is always happening to BLACKPINK. People joking that YG's password is probably Blackpink123. BLACKPINK was first hacked on Spotify, and now they've been hacked on Apple Music too. What the hell is going on? Why is there always something happening with music platforms? YG's passwords for BLACKPINK must be Blackpink123Blink, because there's just no way they always get hacked this easily, especially twice on different platforms within 2 weeks. This screams sabotage. Genuinely, WTF is happening. So this is the first group to be hacked on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and Shazam. Interesting. There's definitely been a lot going on with BLACKPINK, from pre-debut videos being leaked to their accounts on music platforms being compromised. It does bring up an important question about security, right? What is YG doing to protect their accounts? Which brings us to the sponsor of today's video. Just kidding, but that'd have been good. Not gonna lie. KevPN is here to help. Did you know data brokers are trying to take your money, which means less money for treats and plushies? Is aespa's Giselle okay? There has been so much speculation about Giselle, with so many fans accusing SM Entertainment of neglecting her as a member. For example, fans have been pointing out that they give her outfits that make her look like a backup dancer, that they never do anything interesting with her hair, that she's often the forgotten member of the group. This has been an ongoing issue, but recently she posted this to her Instagram, which is an expression that basically means somebody who is left out, excluded, a loner, which of course a lot of fans are attributing to their sentiments that she's being mistreated. So of course there's these viral TikTok videos that show off the quote-unquote outfit mistreatment. So let's take a look. This was definitely a big issue because they were at a university performance, right? So all the other 3 members are wearing specific university shirts, but Giselle was the only one who didn't have one. Now, I remember reading some comments basically saying that there was something wrong with her shirt, or the shirt didn't like, or she didn't like the specific shirt she was given. That's why she was wearing that. But still, overall, people thought it was really weird. So I guess for that one, it was just that they didn't like the specific dress because obviously they're all wearing white. I don't super get this one, to be honest with you. Is it just that she's the only one wearing white boots? I remember this is often referenced in this performance as well, where she really blends in with the backup dancers. I don't get this one personally, but and if you look at specific threads, they're going to mention the outfit things as well. They also accuse SM of not reposting Giselle's brand stuff. I mean, it goes on. You can find so many threads. You can find so many viral videos that show, you know, the difference between her and the other members. There was a recent incident at a concert where the other members each got their ending fairy pose, but Giselle was entirely skipped over. So with all that said, of course, I would love to know what you think of this. Do you think sometimes fans overreact to certain things? Do you think genuinely sometimes a member is purposely left out? Let me know your thoughts. Let's talk about NewJeans right now because they are under a lot of fire for the comparisons that their legal team have made about Ador and Hybe. So this is in regards to the third hearing that they've had. In regards to the contract validity, do they need to remain in Ador or can they continue their independent activities? It does seem that on August 14th, we might have an official answer to that, but we'll have to see. However, in this third hearing, NewJeans legal team basically said that it's not that NewJeans would never return back to Ador. I mean, quote, if Ador can be returned to how it was before the audit in April 2024, they would be willing to go back. But if that's not possible, then of course they would like for their contracts to be ended. Now, it's important to note that before the audit in April of 2024, Min Hee-jin was the CEO of Ador. This legal fight began because Hybe launched an audit against Min Hee-jin in April 2024. They claimed she was trying to seize management control and take NewJeans, but there was no evidence in the audit or grounds for dismissal. The main issue was alleged breach of duty, and in the midst of all of it, NewJeans suffered the most. Police later found no evidence of Min Hee-jin committing breach of duty. The audit and dismissal attempts were based on false premises and intended to remove Min Hee-jin. So of course, Min Hee-jin was found not guilty of breach of trust. So they make mention of that, though of course Hybe is going to object to that ruling. So they go on to mention that the Ador of today is not the same because now Ador is controlled by Hybe staff. The so-called generous support and dividends came when Min Hee-jin was CEO. We can't trust Ador anymore, which is why we can't return to it in its current state. NewJeans' legal team then mentions the psychological effects this has had on the group, saying that the members would like to continue their careers in the entertainment industry, but not under current Ador. Quote, even just going near the Ador building makes their hearts race and forces them to take antidepressants. They then made this comparison. Telling us to go back to Ador is like telling a school bullying victim to return to the place where their bully is. The staff who worked with us have already left and Ador is no longer genuinely listening to what we have to say. How loudly do we have to scream before someone realizes how much we're hurting? Their legal team then made this comparison as well. Quote, the mom who raised us was kicked out and now the dad is saying, I'll find you a better mom, so come back home. So on one hand, there are a lot of people who are quite empathetic towards NewJeans. Of course, this must be really hard on them. On the other hand, there are some people who thought that the comparisons were inappropriate. But of course, as always, let me know your thoughts about this. Despite recent controversy, TheBoyz are set to have a comeback soon. And of course, this comes after a member was recently kicked out. So not only are a lot of fans angry about the member being kicked out, but also now with these teaser pictures where fans are saying a member is wearing a durag. And actually from there, members Kevin and Jacob actually spoke out about the situation as well, clarifying that they don't have control over these things, but that they did speak up about it.
So basically, let me just start off by saying, we are not in charge. Obviously, we can voice our opinions, but we are not in charge of the final outcome confirmation. But we did see our outfits for one of the outfits for the music video because we get like a preview of what each member is gonna wear. And yes, we saw the durag and we said, okay, let's not do that.
So they're basically saying that, yes, they can express their opinions, but they're ultimately not in charge. That they did see the durag and they were like, okay, let's not do that.
It's our opinion, but apparently it was like a beanie with legs. And I went through the same situation because I had a very similar beanie that had legs, basically. So that's what they thought as well.
But essentially there was this idea that it was actually a beanie with legs.
We did voice our opinions, but that is what happened. But after that, because that scene that went out, they were already shooting, and then I went, and apparently they had made an attempt to make it less like that. But then I said, oh, I don't think it still looks too much like that. So they cut it shorter for the other shots. So yeah, just know that we are conscious of what everyone is feeling, and it's not going to be seen anymore. I mean, we can't really do much about what's been already shot, but...
So let's read some responses. This entire situation is so ridiculous and could have been avoided so easily, and also sucks knowing Kevin and Jacob felt the need to address it because they know 100 won't, 100 being their company. So they expressed how it looked too similar to a durag, yet the company ignored these concerns during pre-production production, only to take into account the concerns during post-production. 100, I'm afraid you want to sabotage them. Why would you not listen to your artist's feedback, especially over something being perceived as a durag? Poor decision by both the stylist and the management team. Let me know your thoughts about that, because of course we always have these assumptions that, or questions rather, did the idol speak out and say something? Did the company just ignore the idol? And this is like the specific case where it seems the idols did speak out, but the company just didn't listen to them. So let me know your thoughts on that. Have you guys seen Boys 2 Planet? Because all I'm seeing is controversy after controversy. So let's take a look at what's been going on recently in this show. Number one, the show has been under fire for its treatment of a Chinese trainee. It seems that this trainee was being scolded for not understanding Korean. Now there's context behind this, of course, because it seems that this trainee originally signed up for Planet C, which was supposed to be a Chinese boy group. However, allegedly, it seems Mnet decided to merge the two sets of trainees. So Planet C and Planet K all together to debut a Korean group instead. So as this trainee is being scolded for not speaking Korean, a lot of people were like, well, that wasn't a prerequisite originally. So it seems a fellow trainee told him, even if you don't know Korean, shouldn't you at least pretend to listen? Let's see. I don't know if I can play the clip, to be honest, but we'll give it a go.
한국어를 모른다 쳐도 듣는 쪽이라도 해야 되는 거 아니에요?
And then it seems a vocal mentor told him, yes, you should say yes in a kind of angry tone, because he asked him a question and he just nodded instead of saying yes.
이해했어? 네 해야지, 네.
So of course fans weren't too happy with his treatment. He joined the show to debut in a Chinese group and now they're yelling at him for not knowing Korean. Getting mad at C trainees for not being fluent in Korean when they originally signed up to debut in a Chinese group is so unsettling. However, some fans thought that it wasn't that big of a deal, that they were actually talking about his attitude rather than his lack of knowledge of the Korean language. The person who said that was Japanese. It's not like he said, why can't you understand? He was just pointing out his attitude. What kind of xenophobia is that? They were talking about his attitude. It's true though. If a Korean person tried to get a job abroad and said in an interview, I don't know the local language at all, they'd get the same reaction. They're pointing out his attitude. Why are people reacting like this? Especially that trainee who said it is also a foreigner. From there, some of the judges were actually receiving backlash for what they said about some of the contestants. So Daejung basically says, I felt your old age through both your performance and your visuals. I think this should not be the case. And then Baek Young also said, you guys are dancing and I thought your old age showed in your lack of power and stuff. I thought that your performance would be way better if you were able to tidy up your physique a little. It then seems that Daejung personally calls out one of the trainees and says, lose some weight. So this started a whole conversation. On one hand, there's some people who, genuinely believe that if you're lighter, you'll dance better, that this is just how the industry is. We're just hearing these thoughts being publicly said. And on the other hand, there are a lot of people who didn't appreciate this. It's one thing to have a beauty standard, but it's another thing to call someone out on TV in front of everybody to lose weight, so on and so forth, right? I did see this tweet that was like, so now we're talking about people's appearances? And I'm like, maybe we're living in different worlds here. I feel like we never stopped talking about people's appearances, but I digress. It does seem Daejung tried to respond to this on a couple of occasions. He wrote out this comment, but it seems that it has been deleted. So let's see what he had to say. I see that it came across that way to you. If so, I sincerely apologize. To clarify a few things, I did not make any remarks that disregarded someone's appearance. It seems the footage was edited, and we're going to see this in his next statement as well. The reason the topic of dieting came up is something that the member himself was already aware of and had acknowledged. It wasn't meant as something hurtful. It was brought up not to shame, but to motivate him to do better the next time during evaluations. The PD also mentioned this. It was intended as a reminder, so please don't misunderstand. He then goes on to say that just a slight change in your diet can drastically improve your performance. I support all the participants and sincerely wish for their growth. As someone who has rooted for them from the very beginning, I wanted to offer foundational and sincere advice rather than just superficial praise. What was aired doesn't show everything. Behind the cameras, we had conversations and shared deep, respectful exchanges. Fans and viewers may have left uncomfortable, and for that I apologize, but I'd be grateful to you if you didn't judge everything solely based on the edited footage. The masters understand the participants' sincerity and the weight of their dreams more than anyone. So even if the words may come off as strong, in the end, it's all to help protect the participants' futures. Rather than focusing only on evaluation, we want to help them realize the value of their dreams and the light they carry. That's what drives us. I hope you can understand that. So he acknowledges that the response may not ease all discomfort, but if the truth was misrepresented and that made those supporting the participants feel uneasy, I wanted to share my honest feedback. For reference, I'm someone who has followed their voices and stories and activities all along. I was one of their biggest supporters on site. I truly hope all the boys get to achieve their dreams. It seems he also went on Weverse to talk about the situation as well, also noting evil editing. So in regards to evil editing, I mean, obviously that is a thing. I've heard some, cast members from reality shows say that if you hear something, like let's say the cast member is telling a story and then all of a sudden there's footage over their face that might not have been the sequence in which they told the story. The show might have edited them to say something else. And sometimes you hear it as well, like their voice sounds a certain way, then all of a sudden there's footage over their face and their voice sounds a little different, or like it's cut in a weird way and you're like, what did they actually say in regards to that? So I understand 1000% that evil editing is done. There are some people who are like, but you said it, like you said those words, like how was it edited in a different way? There are still some people reluctant to believe it, but with all that said, of course, let me know your thoughts about that. But of course, there's also a ton of people who love this show and are really excited for the group that will debut out of this show as well. With all that said, let's move on. Welcome to Kpop Shenanigans, which are basically fun little things that have happened in K-pop recently and or quick news. Fans are conflicted about Jennie, saying that she's seeing more phones and faces at a BLACKPINK concert. Some people accusing her of not wanting fan cams of the group's performances. Other people agreeing that sometimes crowds can be boring, so put the phones down. Where do you stand on that? SM Entertainment is being accused of removing Jessica's voice in Girls' Generation's G because Hearts to Hearts did a dance cover of the song and Jessica's parts are gone.
And my girls.
This part as well. So some people are speculating that they just replaced her with other Girls' Generation members' voices, especially in this part where I feel like it sounds exactly like Tiffany. So of course, let me know what you think about that. I think that's it for Kpop Shenanigans. Oh my gosh. But you know what? I don't think I've had any dreams. I had a dream that like my cousin wanted my laptop and I felt like obliged to give it to her. Then I was like, wait a minute. No, it's my laptop. I don't think I have a K-pop song of the day. What am I listening to recently? This is my song rotation recently. Monster High Fright song by Cat's Eye. This is 4 by Twice and Game Boy by Cat's Eye. So yeah, I reckon that's basically it for today's video. These are the lovely individuals who help support my channel on a monthly basis. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. But I will see you guys next time. Bye. Is your sister yeasty and stinky? More money for antifungal shampoo and a doggy dermatologist. Friends you don't have. Unless you've got a problem. Babe, have you got a problem? If you got a problem, say it to my face, babe.